A nation on edge after a rash of gun violence.
I see people running.
Look out my north windows and I see people running from the bar this way, people running this way, people running that way. I mean, any direction they possibly could.
Mass shootings climbing in the U.S., the latest claiming 3 lives in Wisconsin. Is our nation becoming desensitized toward gun violence? We'll take a look. Plus, bracing for a verdict.
No reasonable officer would have believed that that was an appropriate, acceptable, or reasonable use of force.
Closing arguments underway in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. Will the Floyd family get justice? Will they see justice? A look ahead of what to expect as all eyes are on Minneapolis. And avoiding deadly encounters with police, how one man's smart idea is helping save lives. A violent weekend as the nation sees a spike in mass shootings. Good evening and thank you for sticking with us for this hour of BNC Live. I'm Brittany Jones. We'll begin tonight with the latest shooting out of Austin, Texas, where police say 3 people lost their lives in another senseless tragedy. The shooting happened at an apartment complex just before 12 this afternoon. Police have arrested 41-year-old Stephen Broderick in connection with the shooting. Police say the shooting appeared to be an isolated domestic incident. Meanwhile, police are searching for a shooter who opened fire at the Summers House Tavern near Kenosha, Wisconsin early this morning. It's unclear what caused the shooting, but the sheriff says one person was removed from the building and came back a short time later and started shooting. The sheriff's office says 3 people were killed and 2 were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Closing arguments are expected to begin tomorrow in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. The former Minneapolis police officer is charged with killing George Floyd. Last week, after the prosecution rested their case, the defense brought witnesses to the stand to support their theory that Chauvin, kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, didn't cause his death. Our chief legal correspondent, Dr. Laura McNeil, gives us a look ahead at what to expect this week.
So we're in the final week of the Derek Chauvin trial. On Monday, the judge will hear the opening and closing arguments from both the defense and the prosecution. We're also expected for the jury to go into official deliberations. Now, before that happens, Judge Cahill will give them their jury instructions. He'll tell them how to apply the facts to the law, meaning what are the elements of the law that need to be proven for a conviction for second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. These are the 3 charges that Derek Chauvin has been charged with. Now, once the jury is sequestered, they're sent to do their jury deliberations. They will be in a hotel where they'll go back and forth for as long as it takes to come up with a verdict. Now, the question is, will they find Derek Chauvin guilty on all charges, some of the charges, or none of the charges? We have no idea how long these jury deliberations can take. They can be as a matter of a couple of hours, or they can be for weeks. And so, we really aren't sure how long this process is going to last. What's important is this jury has a pretty hard task. They have a lot of scientific evidence they have to go through, medical evidence they have to go through, and so it's going to be probably at least a couple of days if we had to guess. What's important is the family of George Floyd will finally find out whether or not they will get justice. Of course, I'll be here on the ground with gavel-to-gavel coverage here at BNC, looking forward to giving you all the updates as they come. From Minneapolis for BNC, I'm Dr. Laura McNeil.
Many thanks to Dr. Laura McNeil. Well, in Minneapolis, city leaders are increasing security in the downtown area ahead of jury deliberations in the Derek Chauvin trial. Mayor Jacob Fry says 2,000 National Guard members and 1,100 members of law enforcement from other areas will help prevent riots and civil unrest during the final week of the trial. Minneapolis public schools will also move to online remote learning starting Wednesday, and all athletic events and after-school childcare is canceled for the remainder of the week. Police in California are looking for who vandalized the former home of a defense witness in the Derek Chauvin trial. Santa Rosa police say the vandals smeared what appears to be animal blood on the front of the home early Saturday. Authorities say thankfully the defense witness has not lived there in the home for several years. The suspects are also believed to be responsible for vandalizing a public statue in a similar way. It's been nearly 60 days since President Biden took office, and we here at BNC are committed to focusing on his administration's first 100 days for Black America. And one of President Biden's promises is police reform. Congresswoman from Michigan and second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Brenda Lawrence, is with us now to talk about this. Good evening, Congresswoman, and welcome back to BNC.
Good evening. It's an honor to be with you tonight.
So we are excited to have you as well. So last week you all met with President Biden. What was that like for you and the other members of the Black Caucus to finally visit the White House in 4 years? Because we know that wasn't the case with former President Trump.
Absolutely. It was energizing. It gave me so much hope. I want you to know that under the leadership of Cedric Richmond, when he was the chair of the Black Caucus, he took us to the White House to visit with Donald Trump. Because you remember his mantra was, "What do you have to lose, Black people?" Mm-hmm. And so we literally created a document and met with him. I can tell you the difference between these two administrations and these two presidents is glaring. It is unbelievable because Biden has a grasp of the issues. He showed compassion, he listened, and he understands legislation and what we can do.
And I know that's probably the best thing for you all right now, trying to get some priorities handled. So, you know, Congresswoman, we know there are a number of things on the table that need some attention, especially for Black people across the nation. Voting rights, racial equity. You know, what did you all discuss about tackling first with the Biden administration?
We talked about gun control. We talked about the need to address disparities in health that we saw lead so many of our African Americans to the hospital during COVID and to die at a disproportionate rate. We talked about the education of our children. We talked about food deserts. And so every issue, the president was engaged and had a plan, and that was extremely hopeful. We wanted him to know that this transportation bill that's coming up, while we know the New Deal addressed the transportation challenge, infrastructure challenge in America, but it left pockets of poverty all over this country, that we did not expect that this time. And we expect that the Black America and the Black contractors will be included as we roll out these billions of dollars to fix our infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. And what about police reform? President Biden campaigned on it, talked about it a lot. Just last week, Dante Wright was killed by police brutality. He said he's aiming to address within the first 100 days. How important is that right now to see some real change?
It's extremely important. And as you know, we have passed 2 bills in the House. We have passed the gun control bills and the George Floyd bill that will address this immunity issue that police think they live under. No one should have absolute immunity. When we look at a situation like what happened with George Floyd, we know that the responsibility of every police department to train and to hold accountable those bad police officers. That's how we're going to transform policing in America. You cannot have this silence throughout police departments when you know that this person is off the grid, not following protocol, using excessive violence in the community. And so the Senate now has an opportunity to make some changes and begin this process that we as America need to get on board. And the president understands that his challenge right now and his marching orders from us is to use all of his political experience and influence to get these bills passed in the Senate.
And you mentioned it now lies in the hands of the Senate right now. Do you think they'll pass the bill?
If I look at past experience, I would not be hopeful, but we have a new administration. We do have a majority. And so the opportunity, and I'm hopeful because I'm hearing there are discussions going on right now in the Senate between the independent and Republican members to reach some form of compromise. So I'm hopeful, but I am not guaranteeing that it will be a slam dunk in the Senate, by no means.
And Congresswoman, before we let you go, really quickly, is the Black Caucus, while we're on verdict watch right now, are you all bracing for that verdict?
We are, and you'll hear from the Black Caucus a call for calm, because we must get through this, but we are not going to give up. We are not going to sit silent on this, but I don't want any more of my young or older African Americans locked up. As the heart is breaking as we are trying to navigate through the justice system, that we want them to know that we're there. And I also want to, before I leave, talk about having a vaccine, GOTV, get out the vaccine, that the Black Caucus will be rolling out. I'll be back on your show to tell everyone about, we're designating a week of May 1st through the 8th as GOTV for Black America to get their votes. If you love your mother, Mother's Day is coming up, get vaccinated to show your love.
And we definitely will bring you back to talk about that. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for your time tonight.
Thank you. Be blessed.
You too. And coming up, knowing what to do when you're stopped by police could be a matter of life or death. How one man's unique idea is arming citizens with life-saving information. That's next. Countless incidents of police brutality has the nation on edge right now, especially in the Black community. The latest incident was Dante Wright, a 20-year-old Black man who was shot to death by police during a traffic stop. And after seeing incidents of unlawful behavior, one man has taken matters into his own hands with a life-saving app. Mbai Njai, the creator of the Legal Equalizer app, is joining us to talk about this. Good evening, Mbai. Welcome to BNC.
Thank you for having me.
So, Mbai, Black people are scared. We just talked about that. We all know we're all feeling it. Afraid of being pulled over by the police who took an oath to protect and serve. From Sandra Bland, you talk about George Floyd, and now Dante Wright. Talk about your personal experience with police and why your app could be a lifesaver.
Yeah, so for me, the first time I had an encounter with police, I was 12 years old at an academic team trip. A little nerdy kid going for Quiz Bowl, like Jeopardy. And there was a bunch of Black kids outside, and they pulled us, we were outside a hotel playing cards, and they came there and put us in handcuffs because they said we fit the suspect of somebody committed the crime. Come to find out, the person committed the crime was a 26-year-old man that was like 6'3", 200-something pounds, and we're a bunch of 12th graders. And over the course of my life, I've been pulled over probably 115 plus times. I did door-to-door sales for about 5 years in North and South Carolina. So going to little small towns, trying to sell stuff, things like that. So I've had experience, lots of experience, unfortunately, with being stopped, being pulled over, being harassed by law enforcement officials.
Wow, I mean, it's very unfortunate. So you also, you receive law enforcement input in creating the app. What are their thoughts in using the app to hold officers accountable?
Yeah, that's been the one good thing is if they are, honest with themselves, then they realize there's no problem with the app. There shouldn't be any problem with them having their officers being recorded, and it's all about accountability. And so that's the message I wanted to, preach to those law enforcement officers when I went to them is, hey, this app is not anti-police. It's pro-accountability. And that's all it is. I'd rather save lives before something happens rather than wait until something happens for us to get mad about it. And so most of them have been pretty receptive because most of them believe that their officers are, great officers and do the job properly. And so I was like, if that's how you feel, then great. I mean, I just think we should have the accountability piece there.
Well, Mbai, walk us back through what the app actually does.
Yeah, so the app is very simple. Let's say you're getting stopped. At the touch of a button, you can now let your loved ones know exactly where you are, that you've been stopped, what to do, and a map of how to get to exactly where you are as well. On top of that, we now have a button within the app where you can now also send a message to those loved ones, and it's now going to give you a live Zoom link or a live video link. So now you're going to have up to 5 people, and sometimes even more. We're about to make it where you can have more people that are going to be able to be there in real time. So when that officer tells you why you got stopped, you will have your friends, family, and trusted individuals there that can record and hear every single reason of why you got stopped at that time.
Wow.
And we're implementing a feature where we're now also going to find attorneys that you can then add as well to the app. And so then you can have an attorney join you in real time and hear why you got stopped and let you know exactly what's going on as well.
Talk about a lifesaver. So have you noticed a difference in the way police handle traffic stops and situations while using this app?
Yeah, we actually got some feedback, which that's what makes me happy. The happiest is when we get feedback from people that use it and it's changed their experiences. So we had a gentleman who's from Ferguson, Missouri. He's been pulled over plenty of times, ex-college football player, and he was on a road trip and he got pulled over, pulled out the app. And he said it was funny because when the officer came and saw his mom, his dad, and his friends on the phone watching to hear why he got pulled over, the whole demeanor changed. And he was like, he's a big guy. And so he normally tells the officer, hey, I'm a big guy, so if you ask me to get out, don't be afraid, I'm pretty big. But this time when he saw the mom and I'm like, yeah, we just want to hear why you pulled him over. And he was like, he ended up getting a warning, but it was just a lot looser because he knew he had people that he trusted that were there watching that in real time at that point in time.
Wow, I mean, you touch on an interesting point here. So going back to last week, Dante Wright's mom spoke to Good Morning America about the day her son was shot and killed. She said that while she was on the phone with him, she could hear officers telling him to actually hang up the phone. So, you know, in instances like this, we know it's so important to know our rights. What are our rights during a police encounter involving your personal property?
Yeah, you have the right to record that encounter as long as you're not interfering with their duty. So as long as you're not interfering with what they're doing at that time, you have the right to record. And so that's the Dante Wright case is so sad because those are the things that we built the app for to stop from happening. And so we're actually adding a new piece which you guys will see within the next month where you can, if you got a ticket, you can take a picture of your ticket, put it in that app, and we're going to now remind you when your court date is and when you have to pay that ticket off so you're not driving around with a bench warrant. So then they don't have that excuse of saying, hey, we're going to try to pull this guy out and arrest him for less than $400 and end up killing him. And so there are other things we can do to help and save these situations. And so I want people to know, yeah, you have the right to record as long as you're not interfering with that interaction. And so what I wish is that with that call with Dante Wright, his mother was there live on the video. So maybe the cops would have seen her face as they were yelling at his son to get out the car. Maybe the cops would have had a different reaction if they didn't just hear somebody on the phone, you know, telling him, you know, asking what's going on. If they actually saw a mother with her child there, maybe some kind of humanity would have been there. Okay, let's calm down. It's just a misdemeanor that he missed a ticket for. Okay, this doesn't have to escalate. And so that's the goal, that's the hope, that we can get this in the hands of everybody where they know how to use it, they can feel safe. And any of these situations, you have your loved ones there as well.
I bet you are speaking to every black person's soul right now saying that, you know, one of the best things about your app that I love is that it includes the Bill of Rights and tips on what to say when you're stopped by the police. How simple is it to pull out this information during the traffic stop, especially without police getting trigger happy when you're just trying to turn it on?
It's pretty simple. That's been one of my worries. Like I said, someone's been pulled over and stopped so many times. And so we make it where you can open up the app even with what do you call it, Siri or
voice command.
My Voice. Yeah, we make it where you can open up by voice, and it's a quick touch. And we make it where every aspect of the app can be open, so you can send that text message, you can have that live call, and you can look at all that stuff in under 30 to 45 seconds. And know that most times when police pull you over, unless it's the flash, they're not at your car in 30 to 45 seconds. They're still running your tags, and it probably takes them a few minutes to get up there. So by the time they're up there, you can have all of that stuff done and people waiting to hear exactly why you got stopped.
Wow. Lastly, is there a monthly fee for this service?
It's completely free. Completely free. The only time we'll add a fee is when we add the attorneys, and we're going to make it cheaper actually at that time for people to access an attorney in real time. Because I don't want people accessing an attorney. Once you've been locked up, the goal is to keep you out of the justice system. So we're going to make it where you can call an attorney, and for 10 or 20 minutes, you can pay for that attorney $50 or $100, cheaper than a ticket, and have them, hey, okay, be quiet. That's why you got pulled over? Okay, that's the law. I know the law. So that's the next step, and that'll be the only thing we'll have people pay for is if they want that legal stuff. But I want it free. I want people to have this free, and we want people to be safe. Well,
Mby, I'm sure people have their phones up, downloading right now. Just tell the folks where they can find the app, and then that is it from us.
Yep, you can go iTunes Store or the Google Play Store, and it's under Legal Equalizer. and just please download it and sign up.
Perfect. And we appreciate the work you're doing. Mbob, we appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.